echar mantequilla. La vaina es con aceite y si es de oliva mejor, pero también va bien el girasol. Usted agarra la olla redondita, la que no es muy alta ni muy bajita, pero que denota cierta sabiduría, con quemadura al fondo y peladuría. Cuando el aceite esté conversando con el fuego y la olla intervenga en el romance, no hay que dispersarse, hágale parce. Córtese un ajo y espárzalo por abajo, pa' que le dé aromas especiales, porque viene el mejor de todos los cereales, viajando en una taza que sirve para el café y que por la noche trabaja pa' que alcance en el buffet. Usted pone ahí todo juntico rico y espera que se dore nomás.
Este año, Kandy, Sri Lanka, será la sede del tercer Foro Global Nyéléni. Productores de alimentos a pequeña escala, pueblos indígenas, feministas, trabajadores de la salud, activistas por la justicia climática, defensoras de la economía social y solidaria y otras luchadoras y luchadores de base llegarán desde más de 80 países para cambiar radicalmente el sistema. Frente a un sistema global violento, nos estamos levantando, resistiendo y construyendo poder desde abajo. Este foro es una chispa en nuestra lucha colectiva. Camina con nosotros rumbo a Kandy. Visita nyéléniglobalforum.org.
Es vida sapiens de viver, paródia de noite machê, sem macamaco sabura. Es vida sapiens de viver, paródia de noite machê, sem macamaco sabura. Angola, Angola, e povo sal, a minha os gata matando, bem coar para banhar caminho. Angola, Angola, e povo sal, a minha os gata matando, bem coar para banhar caminho. Es convivência das minhas vivência, paciência de consequência, resistência de extravagância. Es convivência das minhas vivência, paciência de consequência, resistência de extravagância. Angola, Angola, e povo sal, a minha os cata matando, bem coar para banhar caminho. Angola, Angola, e povo sal, a minha os cata matando.
Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, dependiendo de dónde nos estén escuchando, y para las personas que están acá en el Centro de Desarrollo Cooperativo de Kandy, Sri Lanka, donde se está realizando el tercer Foro Global Nyéléni, en lo que es el segundo día de actividades de lo que es el foro propiamente dicho. Estamos en el día 9 de septiembre. José Losegui es mi nombre, con una nueva edición de la radio en vivo, la radio Nyéléni. Me acompaña Valentina Machado. ¿Cómo estás, Vale?
Hola, José. ¿Qué tal? Un nuevo día entonces de este foro, de esta gran convergencia de movimientos sociales a nivel global. Y vamos a empezar sin más con el resumen del boletín. Como saben, hay un gran equipo de comunicaciones que está trabajando también en convergencia y edita y publica todos los días un boletín con las noticias del día anterior. Así que vamos a leer los titulares, de alguna manera, del boletín del día de ayer.
Tal cual, las cuestiones más importantes que ocurrieron ayer en el marco de este tercer Foro Global Nyéléni. Recordemos que ayer fue la apertura oficial del foro. Los delegados, las regiones y las organizaciones ya están trabajando sobre lo que es la comisión, la declaración política conjunta, la agenda de acción política común, a partir de los informes de las asambleas realizadas los días anteriores.
Sí, exactamente, y además el arte sigue presente en este espacio, en este tercer Foro Global Nyéléni. Y en este caso, ayer estuvimos hablando de algunos talleres que hubieron a nivel artístico, y hoy está el colectivo Fearless de Sri Lanka, o el equipo local, que comenzó a pintar un mural precioso acá en el costado del auditorio donde estamos realizando las actividades. Y esta es una actividad abierta, así que si están escuchando la radio y están a campos de prueba para nuevos proyectos coloniales. Cada uno de nuestros frentes es un campo de batalla y todos convergen hacia un objetivo común: la liberación de nuestro pueblo. Palestina libre, Viva Palestina. ¿El representante de qué región dijo esto, José?
Es el representante de la región NENA, que es una de las regiones de África, particularmente una de las subregiones de África. Así que, bueno, eso fue lo que citábamos de esta realización de este contexto global por parte de este compañero. A su vez, la jornada de ayer cerró con la actuación de Prakash Raj, a quien también vamos a escuchar en esta transmisión.
Sí, exactamente. Y en el día de hoy se va a realizar una movilización aquí, en el mismo predio donde estamos actualmente, una movilización por Palestina, porque sin Palestina no hay transformación posible y para cambiar el sistema debemos luchar contra el neocolonialismo. Y esto es ahora o nunca.
Exactamente. Valentina, si te parece, vamos a continuación a escuchar una entrevista sobre economías populares, que es uno de los ejes de la agenda política común del tercer foro global Nyéléni, en una entrevista que nuestro compañero Miguel García del Movimiento para la Salud de los Pueblos va a realizar, a Rubí van der Becken de Finlandia. Ella es de la red de Economía Inclusiva, con la sigla RIPES, y van a estar conversando justamente sobre los commons. Este bloque va a ser en inglés, así que en unos pocos minutos vamos a dar paso a la entrevista.
Y en la borrajao lleva plátano, jamón y queso y le vale 500 pesos. A comer aborrajao caliente por solo 500 pesos. Y el aborrajao está caliente, está sabroso y le vale 500 pesos. Adelina, 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 tiene la receta que le ha enseñado su mamá. Y todo aquel.
Hello everybody, my name is José Elosegui and we are in the second day of the third Nyéléni Global Forum in Radio Nyéléni in our first live edition of the day today. Well, actually in the evening we are not having live radio today, but as we were saying yesterday, it was the first day of the forum and we want to share with you some updates that were are part of the bulletin that is being produced here by our comrades. We are all working in the communications front, in charge of sharing the news which are happening here in the third Nyéléni Global Forum. So in this new bulletin we have, for example, the delegates, the regions and the organizations are already working on the common political agenda, which are being elaborated based on the reports of the assemblies that were done in the previous days. Also, we have to keep talking about art because we have an art gallery which is here in this third Nyéléni Global Forum, which is really a big presence in the forum. And yesterday the group Fearless from Sri Lanka started to paint a mural where everybody is invited to participate. So please, if you are around, if you are here taking part of this forum, you are invited to be in the mural and paint yourself. And at the beginning of the forum there was an opening ceremony which was very important, in which also it was read and it was done an analysis of the global context, the regional and the local context. And in the bulletin we have a quote which says, "We affirm that popular agrarian reform is not an option but a necessity. Our lands are being turned into testing grounds for new colonial projects. Each of our fronts is a battlefield of struggle and they all converge towards our common goal, the liberation of our people. Free Palestine, long live Palestine. It's a quote from the engineer Mohammad Manasra, representing one of the regions from Africa, Nena region. So yesterday the day ended with a performance by Prakash Raj, who we will be also listening in this live radio today. Today, by the way, we are having a march for Palestine because without free Palestine, there is no transformation possible. To change the system, we must fight against neocolonialism. It is now or never. Now we are going to be listening an interview in English about popular economies, which is one of the axes of the common political agenda. Our comrade Miguel Garcia from the People's Health Movement and also part of the communications team of the third Nyéléni Global Forum will be interviewing now in few minutes to Ruby van der Becken. She's from Finland. She's also part of RIPES, a network of inclusive economy, and they are going to be speaking about the commons. So this interview, as I said, with Ruby will be in English. So in few seconds, Ruby and Miguel with you on air. Bye-bye.
The climate, food, political, and economic crises are not a mere coincidence. They are the result of a capitalist system that has reached its limits. The time to change everything is now. The third Nyéléni Global Forum 2025 is underway.
Hello everyone, you're listening to Nyéléni Radio live from Kandy, Sri Lanka at the third Nyéléni Global Forum. Systemic transformation is now or never. My name, Miguel Garcia. Our guest today is Ruby van der Becken. She's part of RIPES Finland and she's also an activist of the global justice movement. Hello Ruby, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much Miguel.
I would like to ask you first for the understanding of our audience. Let's talk about the concept of commons. How do we come to this discussion of the commons for social movements?
Yes, perhaps I could start with the envisioning of solidarity economy building. As you already told, I'm a delegate here for RIPES, the Intercontinental Network for Social and Solidarity Economy Building. And for myself, I have translated the notion of solidarity economy as, first of all, addressing that what is economy, and to say that economy should be a discussion of us and for all of us. And then it puts forward that if we put on the right lenses, we can see all around us different layers of economy, different economic activities that are actually not putting profit, but the values of democracy and equity and shared power and solidarity to the forefront. And then it goes on to say that if we map those initiatives, if we make them more visible, if we work more through them, we can be building the space for another economy from the bottom up. And then we come to the commons. Because if we think of connecting our initiatives, our food cooperative, our energy cooperative, our local currencies, if we connect them more together, people are getting more and more involved with their basic needs and are starting to care for them, share responsibility. And then we're come to be building up all our basic needs as commons and engage in commoning around them, because the commons is importantly a verb.
In Latin America, we, from indigenous peoples, we know that for indigenous communities, the land and territory is common, and the produce of the earth is also common good. How much of this concept is introduced by the concept of commons?
Yes, that is indeed, those are commons. Those are our commons. But I've been inspired by the work of a researcher activist who unfortunately is not with us anymore, Silke Helfrich. And she actually compared the commons to lenses through which to look at economy. And from that perspective, actually everything can be a commons. A commons refers to the voluntary holding in common, what I was already telling about the co-producing, the co-caring for, the co-governing. And from that perspective, not only our land, our water, our forests are commons, but in fact our language, our culture, our currencies, our food can be a commons, because it's around that what we hold in common. So it's taking the notion a little bit further than merely saying that our land and our water are commons. It's also about our commoning around actually all of our basic needs and the things that we hold in common, a paradigm shift.
So there is no commons without commoning. Commoning, I'm sorry. Can you explain, like, for someone in Canada or Europe, is the Amazon viewed as part of their commons?
Very good question. I think there are different perspectives to it. We all know the importance of the Amazonas to all of us. So in that sense, it is a global commons that wherever we are in this world, myself being from the north, being from Finland, we know very well that whatever we do and say and whatever solutions we come up with, if we don't reduce our consumption, we are on a daily level, we are contributing to destruction of commons, like, for instance, our Amazonas. If we don't change our patterns with regards to the soya that is being consumed by our animals, etc. At the same time, the Amazonas is also home to many, many people. They live in different forms in forest in very sustainable ways. They are the stewards of the forest. And of course, the people there should have a direct say in how their livelihoods are being built up and defended. That is definitely, there's a local discussion there of their commons. At the same time, we have a responsibility to take care of these very important global commons that the Amazonas are.
In that same sense, who gets to decide over territories or over what happens and how the commons are used?
Yeah, these are complicated questions, but that it is with the commons and commoning. Whenever people have to come together to decide about things, it gets really complicated. I think there are different levels there. On a local level, we could hope that we could be retaking our, for instance, our food systems, our energy systems more into our own hands, make them more of a commons, which of course you would be wanting to work out on a local level. Is it with your city? Is it with your local authorities? Is it then also towards a legacy on a national level or perhaps on a regional level? Then on the other hand, of course, I think we would all be hoping that we can be having global institutions where we can really address issues with regards to our global commons. That is, of course, something we would be hoping from the UN today and to different mechanisms that we could be building up. But so there the question comes, it's on different layers, on different levels that we can be addressing our commons.
So we're here at the third Nyéléni Global Forum, and we're having discussions about agroecology, food sovereignty, climate justice, right to health. What does this concept of commons means for social movements involved in these discussions?
I think in many different ways, all the axes of convergences, all the concepts that the issues that we are addressing. We're talking at large. We're talking about systemic change. We're talking about people's sovereignty. And I, for myself as an activist, I found that despite very different conditions globally, there are many same forms of organizing amongst us, same aspirations, same envisioning with regards to what we want. And I've been translating that for myself as being the right to see things as a commons. That is actually something which is uniting us globally. We want to step away from the paradigm of a capitalism in which we're having commodities being circulated. We want to actually come to an economy in which all of our commons are allowed to be and be governed by us. So I think it's actually a very unifying issue here also at the forum. Whether we talk about our land, our water, our food, our culture, our identities, they can all be viewed from the point of view of being a commons and not a commodity dictated by the market.
In this sense, I want to ask you also about what does this mean for the concept of protecting or advocating for the rights of future generations?
They are, of course, left with an enormous legacy from the last decades in which so many things have been intensifying the extractivism of many resources in our world and many paradigms. So in that sense, for them to be wanting to take things more into their own hands and getting more enabled, I thought it was very great to hear also from the youth assembly, where youth were talking about it, that they would really want to see more support for them to be engaging in solidarity economies, in alternative economies. It also needs support, it also needs guidance. And in that sense, the commons for them is also a paradigm shift with which to look to the future. It's actually also something, a hopeful something around which we can be unifying together.
Where do you think that people can access information? Where can they read and have access to, to information about commons?
Well, there have been different works being written. I was already talking about the work of Silke Helfrich, who has written a wonderful book about the patterns of commoning. She's actually talking about a lot of initiatives that we are all engaged with. This is not something that is like unexistent. It's another lens of looking at the things that we are already engaged with, and she points to the potential of looking from the paradigm shift of the commons at the initiatives that we are having, and to understand how transformatory they actually are. So there's a wonderful book called The Patterns of Commoning. And I think there are different processes also locally that are taking forward this concept of the commons in a more wider notion than it only being about resources, but in fact about social practices of working together, of taking more of our daily worlds into our hands, and to learn together how we can co-produce them, co-govern them, and care for them jointly.
Systemic transformation is now or never. You're listening to Radio Nyéléni live from Sri Lanka. This is the third Nyéléni Global Forum. Thank you for listening.
Land, water, seeds, health. They are not for profit, they are life. No more theft, no more destruction. With feminism, indigenous knowledge, and rights for all, we rise to defend the commons. In Nyéléni, the future is rooted in the people.
That golden valley, and I said, this land was made for you and me. As I was walking, now they tried to stop me. They put up a sign
The climate, food, political, and economic crises are not a mere coincidence. They are the result of a capitalist system that has reached its limits. The time to change everything is now. The third Nyéléni Global Forum 2025 is underway.
Last night, we were joined by Indian artist and activist Prakash Raj. Local journalists from Sri Lanka interviewed him. And we are airing that interview now, where they discuss the importance of food beyond nourishment and the link between art and social struggle. Take a listen.
I am with Prakash Raj. He came to Sri Lanka for Nyéléni Global Forum for Food Sovereignty. As I know, you are a food lover, but you are a political person, and I think this the idea of sovereignty. I saw multiple times you spoke about sovereignty for language sovereignty. So, what do you think about food sovereignty, and what is the connection with you? You worked with farmers' movements, and what do you think about this forum and the politics and the food?
Food is not just to eat, no? Food is not just a greed. Food is not only to relish. It's a lifeline.
Yeah.
It's a language. It's sustainability. It's your culture and your identity. Food is not just what you grow, how you are self-reliant. What do you grow? How do you speak to the nature? What is your language with the nature? How you are one in the nature? And how do you reap? And how do you sow? Food growing, sovereignty is not something, it is not the arrogance of you're growing something. We can't grow anything. We have to let it grow. And that's evolution. And that's adaptability with the rains, with the land. It's the conversation with the earth, the conversation with yourself. And that's a larger perspective. And when in politics today, when the regimes don't understand this, bring in multinationals into it, talking about killing the earth, you're killing the humus of the earth. Farming or growing is not about trees, about the earth. How are we deciding? Because every seed, there is a tree in a seed, there is a plant in a seed, but where is the earth for it to grow? So we need to talk about the earth, we need to talk about the people, we need to talk about the women, their contribution. It's not hunting, it's growing, it's taking care of. And it's a very big perspective. So when you talk about food sovereignty, everything comes in. Politics comes in, nature comes in, ecology comes in, your languages come in, your love comes in, your empathy comes in. Yeah.
So you did a movie called Un Samail Arail. Sorry, and you did that. In that movie, you beautifully talk about how food and love and how connect people with the food.
Isn't it a language your mother speaks? Cooking to somebody's tongue, not to your taste. To the taste of that tongue is the way you say it, is the way relationships are made. The way in our culture, we are today talking about calories, about dieting, but the wisdom is which fruit to eat when, which vegetable to eat and which weather to eat what. That's a beautiful thing.
How do we connect that beauty into politics? Because this is a
that's politics too. The politics too.
Yes. So then I should ask, like you 8 years ago, September 5th, your friend got killed, murdered, Gauri Lankesh. So after that, I saw you became so active, vocal about politics. Then how do you connect your journey after that movement into this moment?
When Gauri was killed, my friend was killed, I said a line. I said something, says, I am not burying her. We are sowing her. Because if you silence a voice, a stronger voice will be born. That's how evolution happens. That's how resilience happens. So it's our job to continue the journey. It could be Gauri, it could be the political prisoners of this country, of this world. It could be the political killings of the world. Why do they silence? It is not the person they are silencing. It's to bring the silence around that nobody speaks up. So if we come out in resilience and we become a louder voice, So I think it was a very important turning point in my life when Gauri was in. That's how it reacted. And when people say that you have given up your career, and I said, I'm rich enough to lose. Because to be known as an actor is for the roles you do, not me. But now at least I'm known for what I stand for, what I am against.
I think I saw you as an actor, but one moment you were in this debate with the Indian Home Minister. So that moment, how powerful, whole audience was against you, the media, whole online, all the people against you, but you stood for a cause, and I think you lost so many things.
That is okay, but that is the strength of the truth.
Then you started this Nirdiganta, I think year or so before.
Nirdiganta is a theatre incubator we have started because now what do I do with my art? How do I do my politics with my art? How do I take this truth to people with my art? Because art need to be relevant, and I don't believe that art is for art's sake. When there is blood on the streets, I can't write about sunsets and sunrises, and that's very important today. And Nirdiganta is that, and so Nirdiganta through art, through theatre, we are trying to bring in now today. The show you're going to see is about the poems of resilience, how from different walks of life and different timelines, the culture, the people in different languages have written the same truth. And we are seeing how art could be a tool in education. We have been working for the last 2-3 years into schools where theatre can be a tool in education. And we are going with these poetries and plays to the youngsters. How theatre can be a tool to bring perception and see it in a different light altogether, and how they should see it. So it's a journey.
Yeah, my last question, sir. And it's honor to, as a person who admired you, your voice. So Sri Lanka. What about Sri Lanka? Because last few weeks we went into Chemmani, the burial grounds of 96, and after that, so we had so much history. You talk about India always, but what do you feel about Sri Lanka?
You know what's happening in Sri Lanka? I remember a novel called Anita's Ghost, yes, where there is a human rights activist who comes from the World Human Rights Commission, and she comes to Colombo. And she's taken to 100-200 years kilometer away, and they are excavating skeletons. And she says, these seems to be political murders. They're so recent. And she whispers, and the guide says, you don't belong here. You're so safe being with the Human Rights Commission, but still you whisper. That means fear is in the air. Fear is the national disease here. And that's what is happening with Gaza. That's what's happening with Manipur. That's what is happening with Muslims in India. So whatever the economic constraints the people are facing, it's because of the regimes. And I think we together coming here in this forum is such an important thing, that we are shattering borders, we are crossing borders, and just to tell the world that we all can come together to fight together. Because what at least a human being can do is to tell the other human being and give him hope that there's another human being there.
This was one more voice in the growing tide ahead of the 3rd Nyéléni Global Forum. We communicate to resist, we dream to transform. We will continue to meet in the territories, in the struggles, and at nyeleniglobalforum.org.